शुक्र खुदा में रज़वी हो।
अल्लाह के नबी से अल्लाह के नबी से फरियाद है नफ्स की बदी से। अल्लाह की नबी से फरियाद है नफ्स की बदी से। दिन भर खेलों में खाक उड़ाई, दिन भर खेलों में खाक उड़ाई। लाज न आई नजरों की हंसी से, लाज न आई नजरों की हंसी से। शब भर सोने ही से गरज थी, शब भर सोने ही से गरज थी। तारों ने हजार दांत पीसे, तारों ने हजार दांत पीसे। ईमान पे मौत बेहतर और नफ्स, ईमान पे बेहतर और नफ्स तेरी नापाक जिंदगी से। ईमान से मौत बेहतर ऐ नफ्स तेरी ईमान की तेरी नापाक जिंदगी से। और शहद नुमाए जहर दरजाम, और शहद नुमाए जहर दरजाम। गुम जाऊं किधर तेरी बदी से। Lengthy discussion. I am only reading a few stanzas for you from Sayyidi Ala Hazrat Azim al-Barkat radiyallahu anhu to discuss what I want to discuss today. Allah के नबी से फरियाद है नफ्स की बदी से। From Almighty Allah and from Allah's beloved Nabi, against the evil of my inner desires I seek a remedy. From the evils of my inner desires I seek a remedy. Ala Hazrat Azim al-Barkat says, you spend the entire day, he's talking to his nafs, to your inner desire, to your inner self. You spend the entire day in entertainment wastefully. This is how do we spend our time today? You spend the entire day, dil bhar khelo mein khak urai. You spend the entire day in entertainment wastefully. Even though the dust particles ridiculed you, you have no modesty. Even though the dust particles ridiculed you, you have no modesty. You only cared about sleeping the entire night lazily. Shab bhar sone hi se gharaj thi. You only cared about sleeping the entire night lazily. Even the stars looked down at you furiously. Even the stars looked down on you furiously. Iman pe maut behtar o nafs teri napak zindagi se. O evil inner self, indeed to die with Iman faithfully is far better than living your life of your life way of life sinfully. And oh shahad numa is zahr darjam. Allah is saying, oh how you present poison to me as a sweet drink of honey. What does the nafs do? What does your inner self do when it wants you to make guna? It makes the guna look like it's the best thing. Na'udhu billah min. When your inner self wants you to commit some sin, what does it do? Does it present the sin to you as a sin? Oh, how do you poison me? How do you present poison to me as a sweet drink of honey? I wish I had vanished into thin air, being safe from your mutiny. Ala Hazrat Azim al-Barkat is reminding us, plenty discussion time is not going to permit for me to go through the entire kalam. But I've read this because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us in the Holy Quran, and this is something that every Muslim knows, وَأَتِيُوا اللَّهَ وَأَتِيُوا رَسُولَهُ. And obey Allah. Be obedient to Allah. And be obedient to Allah's the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allah is reminding you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling you and commanding you and us, all of us, that obey Allah. And obey Allah's beloved Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What does it? This one command is telling you something very important. And this command is what our iman is about. What our deen is about. What our life is about. Obeying Allah and obeying Allah's Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That is the objective of our life. That is why we are here. And this is the reason for which our life will either be successful or unsuccessful. If a banda, if a servant sincerely obeys Allah and he obeys Allah's beloved Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then his life will be successful in the year after. And if he spends his entire life disobeying Allah and disobeying Allah's beloved Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then at the time of his death, he should fear a detrimental death. Every little thing that we do, good or bad, has an effect. Everything that you do, it has some form of an effect. And we know it is said every action has a reaction. Every cause has an effect. Everything that you do, there is some asar of it, there is some effect of it. People do things and they don't realize how detrimental it is. Example, you find people, azan is going, but standing and making kissa kahani. Azan is going, right in the masjid. Yes, somebody said something you out for dini reason and you responded quickly, fine. But other than that, you're supposed to be responding to the azan. You're supposed to be giving jawab to the azan, and the jawab of azan is so important that not in namaz. If you're sitting like this and you're making tilawat, if you're reading the Quran and the azan is called, you have to stop and give the answer to the azan. Can you think you are reading the Quran and the azan called? What are you supposed to do? Stop, close up, and listen to the azan carefully and reply to it, and thereafter make tilawat. This is the command about recitation. And what about this gupshup that we make? The nonsense and wasting time talk. While the azan is going, not even realizing how you're disturbing the muazzin who is calling out the azan, number one. But let me tell you the effect of this. People may think somebody was giving the azan is going, I just spoke. No. One of the most detrimental effects of talking during the azan unnecessarily, unduly, is that there is a fear that the time of your death you will die without iman. Can you understand how dangerous this is? I'm telling you this so you understand how the nafs presents what you're doing to be right. The inner self presents what you are doing to be right. And makes it look very nice. That's what the shaitan does. Just this week somebody sent me one message, and then somebody else, and then somebody else, to tell me, Maulana, some store was selling some drinks, castle alcohol free. Whether they remedied the problem or not, I'm not aware of the entire situation. But after hearing this, you say that this is because of the dangers of our own nafs. The reason that is put wherever it is put is because people are looking for something like that. It is because people are looking for something like that. Now today, 24th of December, I think, date is right, na? Ab Muslim log ghar saja rahe hain. Muslims are decorating their house. Muslims are getting ready to celebrate Christmas. And you get some shaitans who are calling themselves leaders and telling the Muslims that it's fine, you can do. How many of those same people decorate their house for Mawludun Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam? What is this? This is the body of the nafs. This is the evil and the wickedness of the inner self. That somebody is looking for something, let me find a sharab, a beer that is alcohol-free. Utter nonsense. It's a mockery. But it shows our pathetic state. Not only the state of that, whoever kept or whatever the reason may have been or whatever else, remedied, unremedied, whatever. But the state of those that it was welcoming. This is something that's destructive. What is the condition of the community and the society? That somebody would have picked and taken it. Or bought a case of these things. Why? Because we are looking for a loophole to use this. La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. We have forgotten that Allah has commanded us to obey Him and beloved Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That which even has the slightest doubt of haram, you're supposed to stay away from it. We want to look for that in which there's one little bit loophole. Destructive. Absolutely destructive. Sign, again I said before, it's a sign of spiritual bankruptcy. Spiritual bankruptcy. When you financially bankrupt, we all hit our heads on the ground. What do you do when you're spiritually bankrupt? That's when you should hit your head on the ground. Put your head in sajda, in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. and make the ibadat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Today, let's be honest. Very short time on a Jummah to say some things. But it is our community and our society is becoming ill. And I'm not talking about COVID-19. We are now used to it. 2 years have gone. Allah jo chahe. We've said that in the beginning, we're saying it now. We take all the precautions, whatever Allah wills. Okay? But there are diseases that's worse than this. We don't care about it. Our community is becoming diseased. The ummah is becoming diseased. What is this disease? Inferior complex. We want to be ma'adallahi rabbil alameen like how the kuffar are doing. Why? What's your reason? What is the reason for this? This is because, look, Allah has created us with two things. For simple understanding, time is not permitting to go into detail. Sifat-e malakuti and sifat haywani. The animalistic attributes and qualities and the angelistic attributes and qualities. And a person is successful in life when the angelistic qualities overwhelm and overpower the animalistic qualities and desire. Then he becomes Shaykh Abdul Qadir Jilani in Baghdad. Then he becomes Sultanul Hind Khajagan Khaja Mainuddin Chishti Ajmeri Sanjari radiyallahu. Then he becomes Imam Ahl Sunnat ala Hazrat Nadimul Barakat radiyallahu. But when the animalistic attributes and qualities overpower the angelistic attributes, then what happens? He becomes the cause of the destruction of others. He becomes the cause of the destruction of himself and his community as well. And this is what we see in the deviants and the Padmazhabs. Self-eroded and trying to erode the rest of the ummah as well. So we need to think about this. That why is it that we are falling prey to this disease? The reason for this is because we look for the musalla when we go through problems. If I'm wrong? Except for those who read your namaz, theek hai. But how many people find the musalla? That too they have to look if they've got one in the house. We have to look. You have to, when you go on Thursday, before every Thursday, when we were little kids, when Thursday evening came, nobody had to say, pick up the Quran. Although we went to madrasa and read Quran, everybody, Thursday after Maghrib, everybody sat and read Quran Sharif and Yasin. Today, you have to tell your children, I also have to tell my children. Remind them, today is Thursday. Have you sat to read? Why do we have to remind them? It is because this modernist dunya has started to erode them. This is a bimari. Ask the children when last they went and picked up the Holy Quran. We say teach the children the adab of the Quran. What adab will they learn when they don't even pick it up? Isn't this eroding our community? We are forgetting the basics. We are forgetting the very basics. Those things that are for our spiritual benefit and for our fayda here and in the qabr as well. See, we are only thinking about here. Yet our Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said the intelligent man is the one who remembers his hereafter. But we are thinking about here, we are forgetting the word after. After here, there is after. And this is life, that is life after life. Not life after death, in the real sense. Life after death, yes. But it is in reality life after life. Huzur Taj Sharia radiallahu anhu used to beautifully say. He says when a Muslim Sunni Sahihul Aqidah leaves this world, he has nothing to worry about. He is going from home to home. He is going from home to home. And the pious today we want to know, and look, the excuse that we give each other, whether it's myself or anybody else, we must acknowledge our own weaknesses first. Right? What is the excuse we give if we do something wrong, or if we did it on Dhamal somewhere? Half the 3/4 of the reason that people give. I was in a tight position, I didn't know what to do. I was in a very tight position. I didn't know what to do. You know what, by me doing that one, at least I made 5,000-6,000 rand more. At least by doing if I didn't do that, I wouldn't have done that. we've forgotten your risk doesn't come from man. And this is where the big problem is happening. Whether it is the general public or it is the leadership. We are forgetting that where our rosy is coming from, where our risk is coming from. It is not coming from the hand of the man that gives it to you. Look at who's in his hand, where it's coming from. Look at in that person's hand, who's it coming from. This risk is coming from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if you are sincere in your ibadah to Allah, if you are sincere in your obedience to Allah, if you are sincere in your obedience to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then think about it, that on the tip and on the peak of a mountain, Allah gives sustenance to an ant. Who reaches it? And in the depth of the sea, inside a little rock, Allah gives sustenance to a worm. That same Allah who gives sustenance to the worm, and the same Allah who gives sustenance to the ant, indeed gives sustenance to those who lower their heads in His court. Those who have faith that He is my Allah. Those who have yaqeen that He is Allah. You have to learn from the pious people. And that is why the Quran tells you, وَكُونُوا مَعَ الصَّادِقِينَ. We are being reminded. Learn from the pious people. 2 quick waqiyas. Time is limited. There was one seeker of the spiritual path, a salik, seeking out spiritual excellence in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and wanting to be near. As much today, we want to strive to be close to somebody that we love. I love this boy, so kill my parents for it. I love this girl, to wipe my entire khandan for it. To love somebody, we prepare to do anything. We prepare to make every sacrifice. To attain the closeness to something or get something, we make every sacrifice. I want to ask myself, and I want to ask you the question, how much sacrifice have you made in the last 24 hours to attain closeness to your Rabb Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Ask yourself, I'm asking myself. I regard myself guilty. That whatever I did is still not enough, and it will never be enough. But think about it, if you not read Fajr Salah today, and if you don't intend to read any other Salah for the day, Allah kare, that's not true. But if that is the case, think of it. How you die, that when you are sick, when you have COVID or you have any other sickness, how you feel when you can't take that one breath. Those that have gone through this. How you feel when you're trying to gasp. How you feel when the doctor tells you that you know when the SMS comes positive. When the SMS, today the most negative word has become positive. Today the most negative word has become positive. Samajh rahe? Leave alone the bimari. Never have any symptoms. The moment the SMS comes, chakkar aane lagta hai. I'm feeling dizzy. What is this? What is the reason for it? The reason for it is because if you're sick, you're sick. Allah will give shifa, right? But what is the reason for this? It's psychological also. Half the illness of a man is in his brain. If he keeps his mind strong and has yaqeen in Allah and his beloved Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam and knows that shifa is from Allah and sahat is from Allah, either way, walillahi alhamd. Either way, either way. But we're not looking at it. That's why we're having all these problems. That's why we're going through all these problems with ourselves. The actual battle is not between me and you. The actual battle is not between you and your brother. The actual battle is not between you and your family member. The actual battle is within yourself. It's between you and yourself. The pious seeker of Allah was making ibadah. He was doing riyada, spiritual exercises. Today everybody does physical exercise. How many of us do spiritual exercise? All the people will tell me, what is a spiritual exercise? What is a spiritual exercise? Stand on the musalla and say Allahu Akbar and understand that Allah is the greatest. Understand it, not only say it. Spiritual exercise, that when you finish your namaz, don't wait to take off at 120 kilometers an hour. When you tell your salam, not to run out of the masjid like shaitan is chasing you. But when you tell your salam, to say La ilaha illallah and make the dhikr of Allah, that is your spiritual exercise. Because if the heart is strong, the body will be strong. And if the heart is purified, and how is the heart purified? By the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is your spiritual exercise. So a servant of Allah was doing spiritual exercise. He was performing spiritual exercise in the wilderness of Arabia. He was performing spiritual exercise in the wilderness of Arabia. I'm being brief because time is not going to permit. He was making spiritual exercise. He was making riyazat. He was in the ibadat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the wilderness of Arabia alone. At that particular time, he ran out of food, he ran out of water. We're talking about, because this risk story, this pet ka mamla, na, this is the thing that's destroying most of the people. This is what's harming us. We forgot. He was making ibadat, and at that time he ran out of his food and water, that whatever supplies he must have had with him. But he was drowned in the remembrance and absorbed in the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And after some time while making riyadat and mujahida, he's human. He felt the need to eat. He was hungry. Because some time had passed and he's not eaten. Days have passed. And when he was in this state, he started to think. He says, at that time I felt in my heart. This was quoted by one of the great Aimma. He says, I felt in my heart that how nice if somebody could give me some hot roti. How nice if somebody could give me some hot bread and some hot vegetable curry. And the particular vegetable that he thought of at that time was bakala. Bakala is a kind of a pea. It is a kind of a pea. Okay? A vegetable. But he says, then I thought in my heart again, what are you thinking about? You are in a wilderness, and this particular pea that your heart is desiring to eat, that too hot with hot roti, you'll only find it in Iraq. It grows particularly in Iraq. So where are you going to get that? He said, I was still in this thought when suddenly I saw a person in the garb of a villager, of an Arabi, appearing before me. And he announced to me and said to me, come join me if you would like to have hot rotis and some hot vegetable curry. Come and join me, he said. I was amazed. I stepped forward and I said to him, do you really have hot rotis? And do you have this pea curry that I'm thinking of, hot curry? He said, yes. He removed his shawl. He was wearing a shawl. He removed his shawl. He put it on the ground. He laid the roti down. He laid the curry down. And he said, come and eat. I ate. He said, I ate 3 helpings. I ate 3 helpings, hot as if somebody just cooked it. But no sign of where it was cooked. Just the person appeared. I don't even know where he appeared from. He says, and then I ate to my stomach's full. And after I finished that, to my contentment of my stomach, he encouraged me to eat even the 4th time. I told him, now I can't have any more, but I give you the qasam of him. I give you the qasam of him who sent you towards me. I give you the qasam of him who sent you towards me. Who are you? He said one word and he disappeared. He said one word and I didn't see him again. He said, Khidr. Who? What did he say? Khidr alayhi salam. This is the state of a person who has trust in his Rabb. This is the state of a person who knows that Allah gives my sustenance. That he is in the wilderness. He fears to eat for something that is impossible to get there. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends Hazrat Khidr alayhi salam to feed him. This is the piety. This is piety. This is nafs. This is being obedient in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is what we learned from the pious Hazrat Abdul Wahid radiallahu an. Very pious servant of Allah. You know, he made one dua. I want to show you something at end. He made one dua. He made a dua and he made this dua for 3 days and 3 nights. Except his faraid and wajibat, he made dua. What was the dua? Oh Allah, please show me at least once that person who will be my companion, my beloved in Jannah. Oh Allah, just once, one nazar. I want to see. But look at this, this is what's called yaqeen. He was making dua in the court of Allah and he got his Jannah guaranteed by his dua. He got his Jannah guaranteed by his dua. Because look at what he said. Oh Allah, show me who will be my company and my beloved in Jannah. Which means his yaqeen was that I'm going to Jannah. That was his yaqeen. And then Allah inspired and said ilham upon his heart. That your companion in Jannah is Ma'muna Sauda. Sayyada Ma'muna Sauda. She is a woman from a tribe in Kufa. When he heard about that, he immediately journeyed. He went there and he got to this tribe and he said to them, who knows Ma'muna Sauda? Who knows Ma'muna Sauda? They said, what are you worried about her? She's a mad woman. She's mad, she's insane. You will find her in the jungle with her sheep. She sleeps in the jungle. She has nothing. She owns nothing. She's really mad. She's a mad woman. He said, where is this mad woman? They said, she's in the forsaken jungle. That's where you'll find her. Nobody goes there. He rushes to the jungle. He says, when I get there, I found an asa. Like this, a stick. An asa that was planted in the ground in front of her, so that it may serve as a sutra, as a separation, so that nobody distracts her. She was in namaz. He said, I saw her, that she was in deep ibadat of Allah in the jungle. The woman who the world called mad. The woman who the world called mad. She was in Allah's ibadat in the depths of a jungle, and he said she was wearing a woolen cloak that had covered her completely. And he said on the cloak it was written, she can neither be bought nor can she be sold. I saw the words written on her cloak. Now this is a lecture by itself. When time permits, one day we'll talk about it. She can neither be bought nor can she be sold was written on the cloak. He said, and when I looked to the side, I saw her sheep. But I saw something amazing. Beside her sheep, where they were grazing, there were wolves. I saw wolves beside the sheep. And I saw that the wolves were not attacking the sheep, and the sheep were not afraid of the wolves. He said, I let out a sigh of amazement. I let out a sigh of amazement, and she had just completed her salah. He said, she looked towards me and she said, oh Ibn Zayd, you may now leave. He was the son of Zayd. Abdul Wahid radiallahu anhu was the son of Zayd. Oh Ibn Zayd, you may now leave. That which you have been promised is not for this world, it is for tomorrow in Jannah. Allah, Allah, Allah. Allahu Akbar. Oh Ibn Zayd, you can go now. That which you have been promised is not for now, it is for the akhirat. Go. Look at the firasat. Who the world called a mad person. But in the obedience and in the remembrance of Allah, look at where the sight is. He has been inspired and given ilham from the court of Allah about who his neighbor will be in Jannah. He reaches her and she knows his name, and she tells him it's not for now, it's for Jannah. Go. Go, be gone. He said it is for after. He looks at her and he says, how did you know I am Ibn Zayd? How did you know? I want you all to pay attention. How did you know? She said that are you not aware of the hadith sharif that the armies of souls are gathered in a special domain? The armies of souls are gathered in a special domain. Those who recognize each other there, recognize each other here. Those who recognize each other there are connected to each other here. And those who are strangers to each other there are strangers to each other here. Alhamdulillah, we recognize Ghaus Azam here, because our rules were near him there. We recognize Khwaja Garib Nawaz here, because our rules were with him there. We recognize Ala Hazrat here, because our rules were with him there. We recognize Huzur Taj Sharia here, because our rules were with him there. And the Bad Mazhabs don't even recognize Allah's beloved Nabi, so their rules were nowhere near the beloved of Allah. Understand this. It's about the souls and the connection of the souls. She gives another long incident, and she gives many nisiyat to him. Time is not going to permit for me to go there. I've already gone beyond the time for 4 minutes or 5 minutes. Allah give us tawfiq e khair. Allah let us understand from these pious servants and from these beloveds, what are we doing in this world? I'm saying to myself first before I'm telling you. What are we doing here? What is our maqsad? We die for rosy. We die for everything else. We forget that Allah is the giver. These pious servants of Allah, who the world called mad, in the depths of the jungle, their sheep grazed amongst the wolves. These pious servants of Allah, when they felt the need for food, Hazrat Khaja Khidr al-Islam descended and gave them from the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What is the power and the honor that is afforded to the ummah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? And where are we in this chain of spiritualism? Where are we? Ask ourselves. How strong is our spiritual account? And if you understand this, then you have taken stock of yourself, I have taken stock of myself. And until we do not do that, we will be looking for castle alcohol free. And we'll be looking for all this other shaitani thing and doing Christmas and everything else. Why? Because the reason is that nafs is going towards that which it enjoys. And this is destructive. Allah give us tawfiq khair. Allah keep us with iman. Let us leave the world with iman. Those that are ill in our community, Allah grant them shifa.